So we are talking about power of forgiveness.
With Professor Dr. Muhaya Muhammad. Good morning to you, a regular visitor, yeah?
Yes, every Tuesday we hope.
Yes.
Okay, tell us, I'll start us off with the power of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Right. Before I start, I want to say this quotation. The three things that all humans want is what? Happiness, freedom, and peace of mind. So how to get these three? Give it to others. When you give freedom to others, when you give happiness to others, when you give peace of mind to others, you will get all these three. And coming to forgiveness, I want to ask you, forgiveness, can we ever forgive something that has not happened? We cannot. It means that to forgive is something that we have to forgive something that had happened. So if we do not forgive, it means that we live in the past. And we know that if we live in the past, we are wasting the energy that we have now with us. Every day when we wake up this morning, God gives us so much energy, the perfect health, the time, the air, the sunlight, everything to live today. But if we waste this energy today, because of what happened yesterday, what a waste. So you imagine if there is a boat, speedboat. As we move the speedboat, there's a lot of wave at the back. And there's an engine. And we are going to a certain direction. If we live in the past, it means as if we are trying to make the wave that's at the back to move our boat. Whereas what's moving our boat is in the now, the power, the thing that God gives now. So if we do not forgive, then we have a lot of grudges, and all the negative emotion will result in imbalance of hormones. So a lot of stress hormones such as cortisol, catecholamines, all this can cause effect on can cause a bad effect on our health, and decrease of the hormones like serotonin, which is the one that cause if it's decreased, you get depression. So I find that many patients who come to me, they say they have some eye problem, but when you talk to them, it's more of a lot of unhappiness inside. And I want to mention about this. Anger is like an acid. When you hold anger, you imagine acid in a container. I want to ask you, which has more damage? The container that hold the anger, or the thing that the container pour onto? Of course, the container that hold it. Same thing with us. If we hold anger and revenge, we are causing more damage to us than to the person whom we have the feeling on. So they say that, there's a saying, if you have revenge, you build two graves. One for you, one for the person whom you have revenge. So you have everything to lose not to forgive, and everything to gain to forgive. And there is a saying in Islam, one of the ways to go into heaven easily, one of the things to do is to forgive. Before we sleep every night, we must forgive ourselves for all the things that we have done may not be right, and intend to do better. Then forgive our spouse, and forgive all our friends, and halalkan or let go of anything that people take your money, your things, or do not pay that they borrow from you. Just let go. Because when we sleep, we are not sure we're going to wake up tomorrow morning. Because sometimes many people die in their sleep, and not worth living this world with such negative feeling inside.
Not just that, but also we believe that, if you don't forgive others, how will God forgive you? And how will others forgive you for perhaps the wrongs that you have inflicted on them in the past? So that's something that a lot of people perhaps don't think about also.
But what if, Professor, that you have gone through such a terrible episode or situation in your life that it's so difficult for you to really willing to forgive that person or the people who has done that wrongdoing towards you?
The key word here is you feel that what has gone wrong has gone wrong. But different things can happen to different people, and they interpret differently. There is a saying by, I think, William Blackwell. It says that if we only close the door to perception, everything in this world remains as it is. Because something can happen, one person perceive like this, one person perceive like this. Of course, when something bad happens to us, we should be able to handle that. I mentioned before, we have to have high adversity quotient, where when something negative happens, we have to ask, what can we learn from this? As example, Zamir, if someone is unfair or nasty to you, then we say that, okay, I have this negative situation that I have, how can I respond to this? So we have two ways, either we react or we respond. If we react, something happens, without thinking, we straight away give. What you deserve this, you straight scold people or get angry. But if we respond, we sit down and there's a stimulus, then we think, how am I going to respond to this? What is the best way to respond so that there's a win-win situation? And whatever happen, whatever people say about us, do not affect our self-esteem. So I was talking about physical strength and mental strength. Physical strength, if we do exercise, the higher weight we increase, more muscles we get. But if we have mental strength, the more negative happen to us, the more we are able to control our emotion and act accordingly, then our mental strength becomes stronger. So I want to mention 5 things. The best thing we can give to our enemy is forgiveness. The best thing we can give to our opponent is tolerance. The best thing we can give to our parents, something for them to be proud of. The best thing we can give to our children, good example. The best thing we can give to mankind is charity. So if we live your life thinking like this, and the other thing I mentioned before, that if something negative happened to us, it means that we have given something negative. Because we will never get what we have not given. And if we receive something negative, that means we have given something negative. And we can never give something negative if we do not have negative inside us. So our main role to prevent negative things is to always have positive. Because the world outside is a reflection of our inside. And the attitude that we have towards the world will determine the attitude of the world towards us. So when I say this, sometimes people say, no, you're being too idealistic. No. See, people who are successful does not mean that nothing happened to them. People who are highly successful, they take responsibility of what happened to them, and they call it response-able. In other words, they're able to respond with ability. Ability to put things in correct perspective and respond accordingly so that it does not affect them mentally and physically.
Coming back to, forgiveness and practical forgiveness between person to person, we're all very touched by stories that we read about forgiveness. And there's one particular story that stands out to me. I read a testimony of this lady who had been in a Nazi concentration camp. I forget which country she was from, whether she's a Polish or a Jew, but she was in a Nazi concentration camp and she lost a lot of family members. And many years after she came out from the camp, one day she went to church. And it was a new church that she had not been to before. And lo and behold, when she was met by the pastor at the door, he was the jail keeper at the Nazi concentration camp. And he had been responsible for a lot of the suffering, perhaps the deaths of her family members. And she was faced with that decision right there and then. And she said, she was trembling and she was just completely stunned. And she felt all the blood flow from her body. She didn't know what to do. But she decided in a moment that she would forgive him. And instead of shaking his hand, she hugged him.
That's wonderful.
And, they both cried because I think he realized who she was. And they both saw that they knew each other from years past. And when I read that, I was like, wow, that's just amazing.
That's powerful.
I don't think I would have been able to do that.
The key word that you say is decision. What is the definition of success? If the moment you make a decision, you are successful. Okay, so this lady, she was faced in this situation. She must think, either I want to react or I want to respond. And you must, at the time, think, if I were to react, the animosity, the hatredness will never go. But the minute you accept, because God is all forgiving, as you say, Doreen, that if we don't forgive others, how can God forgive us? And imagine the man who was so nasty before became a pastor. Because we can never ever condemn people because we don't know at the journey of our life which phase we are in. Because we cannot say that if you are good now, you're going to be good all the time. Because it's God that holds your heart to make you good all the time. Some people, they are bad, become good. But what we don't want is we are good and we become bad. If possible, we want to be consistently good. And this is a very touching story. And in a story of, in Islam story, Sirah Rasulullah, in which one day the Prophet said, watch, there's a man who's going to come in and he's sure to go to heaven. So all the Sahaba said, why? Who is this man? And when they look at him, he looks so ordinary. So they went to sleep at his house and watched what he was doing. And what he was doing was just quite ordinary, what most people do. And when after 3 nights, they cannot find anything extraordinary that he's doing. So they ask, what is it that you do that Prophet say go to heaven straight away? Oh, he said, I do 3 things. Number 1, before I sleep, I ask for forgiveness from God and I forgive everyone. Number 2, I never hurt anybody with the way I look at a person, with what I say and my behavior. And number 3, I never feel jealous of anybody. You know? So imagine if you do these 3 things, you have no account with other humans. And when you have no account with other humans on the day of judgment, there's no reason for you to ask for forgiveness because you are clear. Only your sin with God. And God is all forgiving. Whenever you ask for forgiveness, God will forgive you. So imagine when you, in the hereafter, when you meet God, all your good deeds are full. Of course, you have a touch and go way to heaven.
Let's talk about, forgiveness between, let's say, spouses, or perhaps parents, children, or even between siblings. I've heard it said that the people who you find most difficult to forgive usually are those who are closest to you.
That's right.
Because when they hurt you badly.
With your loved ones.
Yes. So how would you advise people to go about this?
Okay. I find that when we were small, say 7, 8 years old, everything is okay. Because we do not develop our ego. You see, when you are small, when you are 9 months, you never question God, why don't you make me like this? Then when you grow up, you become certain age. But as you grow, as you become to earn more, to have more title, your ego comes in. So I say that every day we can choose to be hostage to our ego or host to God. When you are hostage to your ego, you get offended easily. Number 2, you are away from what you want and everybody is separate from you. And you always have to be right. You always have to be superior. You are judged on what people say about you. So once you have this criteria of acquiring, having more and all that, you have certain ego. And when most people, they have a fight, not when they were in childhood, but when they are adults, when they are with family. And things occur, usually the thing that they quarrel is very minimal, but it becomes proliferated because of the perception and negativism and ego. If you become a host to God, you say, we are from the same womb. When we were small, we ate from the same plate and from the same parents. Why can't we find something that's common? But as we grow in our life, as we become more financially, very prosperous, most people will fight, which is a sad thing. By right, when you should grow, because as every day go by, we're going to nearer to our death.
Yes, you should be more humble.
Yeah, more humble. And on our deathbed, we want to say, oh, I've done everything that I can. I've given value. I have no animosity with everyone. But I share with you, Doreen, many people with their own family, it's very difficult because you love them so much. The minute you find something negative, your response or your reaction is small. So the way to overcome this is recall back the moment when you were young. Look at old pictures. Oh, we were so happy then. Live in that moment and start forgiving and look at person with eyes of appreciation, forgiveness, think well of them. Because studies have shown that the minute you look at a person, the way if you look at things differently, things will appear different. Why don't you have this notion that if you see someone who is good, you love them. If someone who is not good, you have sympathy and pray for them. Because actually, Doreen, Azami, it's always nice to be nice. It's so good to be nice because you feel good and your hormones are good. But there are some people who do not know how to be nice, maybe because they don't have the role model when they were young, the family background that they have.
That's right.
So we pity for them and we pray that God give them the desire and the intention of becoming good. So if you change your filter of your eyes, when you meet a person, you say, please understand me. Please make me feel important. Then if you look at people with eyes of appreciation, then that person will feel appreciated, then he will appreciate you in return. And this thing will go off. And for those, if you're hostage to ego, you say, I won't ask for forgiveness first. I'm the older brother, so the younger brothers must ask. Don't do that. Because the person who shake hand first and forgive first is the winner actually.
He's the bigger person.
Yes.
What if, Professor, you decide to forgive the person already, right? Should you let that person know that you have forgiven that person, or should you just keep it inside? I mean, if you already decided to forgive that person anyway, regardless of what he has has done to you, but should you let that other person know that you have forgiven them
especially
or not?
Especially if you're not sure if the person still, if the person perceives that you were upset.
Yes. Very good question. Because if you say, I forgive you, then for all you know, that person does not know that he's making a mistake.
Yeah.
He not realize.
For what?
What have I done?
Right.
You know, so in order to say that we forgive, it's not more of words, but more of our behavior, our actions to them.
Okay.
So we look at them and find something, we appreciate them, we acknowledge them, and we do not criticize them. These are the magic tricks I see all the time. If you meet someone, and this is the way to prevent negative things from happening.
Right. I think a lot of Malaysians out there should start SMSing. I forgive you, I forgive you. Maybe that will make the world a better place.
That's right, that's right. So I want to mention this. There are many people who have a lot of ailments. We call it psychosomatic symptom. Psychosomatic means how the mind affects the health of the body. So many of my patients, I've been a doctor for like 25 years now. And most of the time when I see a patient, I don't just heal the physical, I like to see them as a whole person. And sometimes the way a person speaks to you, their body language and the way they talk about others tell you what sort of mental state they are in. So usually we as doctors who are very holistic in their approach should know where to go for. And most of the time, sorry to say, sometimes I find husband and wife, when they become older, their relationship is going further. Because I don't know what is this, but I suppose sometimes the wife say, oh, my husband had an affair before.
Right.
And they live every day thinking of what the husband did 20 years ago.
Negative
This was
thoughts.
negative 20 years ago. Because of what happened 20 years ago, one small mistake the husband made, she cannot forgive him and always look at him with eyes of anger.
Right.
So when you look at anger, the husband become more angry because what you give is what you get. So they're always unhappy. And sometimes I tell to all the ladies out there, forgive your husband, appreciate your husband, because I think we all know that. If you put your husband outside on the street, I think many women are after him.
And one thing that I always like to say is live for the moment. Don't live for the past.
Yes.
And always, smile towards the future.
Yes.
Right.
Very good point.
Now we're running out of time.
Yes.
But why don't I just open the floor here for you to summarize everything about the power of forgiveness to our viewers.
And how important it is for us to forgive that person.
Yes. Number one, power of forgiveness gives you the peace of mind in which we know that we have no grudge against anybody. And as we forgive, our health becomes better because all the negative hormones are not there. And to forgive someone, always imagine, you ask yourself, what would love do now? If you love a person, you can forgive him easily. And every day we wake up, say, I want to feel good. And say that in my world, everything is perfect. So when you see someone doing something negative, you become a pronoia, in which we say, oh, this person is doing something, there is a conspiracy, not against me, but for me, to make something good for me. So if we say that if something negative happened to us, something positive is coming. So look at everyone with eyes of appreciation, and every day we think good thoughts, we speak kind words, we take good action. And that good action is always forgiving people whenever they do something that is not to your liking.
Okay. Very nice. Thank you so much for your advice.
Right.
I'm sure that spoke to the hearts of a lot of Malaysians out there.
And I hope a lot of Malaysians have been enlightened by this fact that you should always forgive the people who have done wrongdoings to you. And, once you do good, you receive good. Yeah.
And on this same topic, let's just have a look at the results of the polling question. We asked everybody on polling question if they forgive other people easily. And what do they say?
Now let's take a look.
Well, 50% say sometimes, doctor.
Maybe it just depends on the situation.
25 said yes, and this 25 who said no were very honest.
I mean, this is how the Malaysians perceive presently. But we hope that after this session today, is the segment, we hope that things might change for the
maybe
better.
the first bar will come out a little bit more. Or the second bar, even the second bar coming up a bit more is quite good, actually. Okay, thank you for tuning in with us. We appreciate having you. We always like to hear your calls and everything. And thank you very much for being our guest.
It's always a pleasure to have you, Prof.
Thank you, Zaman.
All your time. Okay, see you again another time, another day. No, same time, another day.
Same time service tomorrow.
If you're traveling, travel safe.
Zamil and Doreen signing off for the day. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.